Today is a very special episode. I've got Matt Gallagher here from WTF1. Thanks for coming on, Matt.
That's absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Raz. It's good to have a little chat about Formula One, and it's a very hot day today where I am, so I'm a bit hot.
Yeah, me too, mate. Do you just want to give the fans in Germany a bit of an introduction? Because I don't think you need any introduction to the UK fans, do you?
No, well, I mean, if there's anybody, because we've been to a few races out in Germany, so I know there are a few people that know of what we do. But if you don't, I'm Matt. I'm from WTF1. I'm a presenter for the channel. I also do a bit of F1 esports as well. And we just try and do fun, entertaining, engaging content for F1 fans, slightly different to traditional media. And hello.
Yeah, nice of you to come on, actually, because first of all, how did you come across my channel anyway?
I actually just saw from you messaging me, to be honest, and I had a little quick look around. I saw an interview that you did recently with a girl called Kira, I believe it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I know where I came from like my old channel and having to put in so much effort and constantly grinding, putting out my videos on forums and things like that. I know how hard it is, so I'm happy to spend a little bit of time and see what everyone else is up to, and if anybody wants me on their channel, then if I have the time, I'm happy to pop by.
I'm really glad you actually made the time, actually, because that has really made my day today, actually, because I spent 4 years doing YouTube, and I've only just sort of started growing. So how long I can remember you from your old channel, from your kitchen. So how did you end up being from your kitchen and then driving a Formula One car?
Well, yeah, I know, crazy. If anyone wondering, I'm looking up at you that's on my screen here, but I'm looking down at the camera. That's why I'm maybe going up and down. But yeah, well, I mean, it's been a ridiculous journey. I never in a million years thought I would be able to do the amazing stuff I can do with WTF1 because I always wanted, I always loved Formula One, and that's why I made my YouTube channel originally, X Matty G. But I never took it seriously. It was just a bit of fun. I was swearing left, right, and centre. I was raging because I just found it entertaining, and some people did as well. And I never knew that would be the platform to then go into WTF1, because I never knew that they'd ever want a presenter. I never knew I really wanted to be a presenter. I kind of just fell into it.
What did you do originally? Like, what did you plan out to do originally?
So before, I did something very different, but I think it actually it translates quite well into what I do now. So I used to work with young people. So I used to help people in schools that were either struggling, if they had special educational needs, all sorts of stuff. So I used to work with kids in school to try and help them achieve better and better things in life. So I feel like, as much as it doesn't seem as though presenting and working with young people is very similar, I feel that I can get across my personality a lot better through the camera, because as much as it's just a camera, I know there are people behind it watching, if that makes sense.
I absolutely love watching your channel. Maybe you can tell that's Tommy and all the rest of the gang as well. But actually, I started YouTube because of my anxiety, and that sort of cured my anxiety, believe it or not.
That's amazing.
So I didn't speak for 3 days, and then the doctor said to me, you need to get yourself in front of a camera and talk about Formula One, and that's what I did.
That's amazing.
So and my confidence has grown ever since, especially now that I get like all these recognition. So
that's amazing. That's an amazing story to hear, Raz, because it's incredible how something as simple as just getting in front of a camera and kind of pushing yourself and doing something you enjoy can can, give you so much pleasure, and it sounds like it's really helped you, which is amazing. But no one would ever have believed, even for me, back at school, I was the shyest boy ever. I wouldn't say anything in any class, but throwing myself in front of a camera, that increased my confidence as well. So I can totally relate with your story, and it's awesome to hear.
And I get a lot of people look at me differently. People don't seem to see the wheelchair. I mean, people just want to talk to me because I'm passionate about Formula One, and that really helped me out as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can tell that you're incredibly passionate about Formula One, and I share that passion. So, more than happy, as I say, to come have a chat with you. And who is your favourite driver?
Well, I'm a massive Michael Schumacher fan.
Nice. Yep, yeah, I agree.
My thoughts go out to him. Because of the situation he's in. But he was just incredible. And then in 2013, Claire Williams dropped me a letter inviting me to the factory. So
awesome.
That was awesome. Never expected that, actually.
That's so cool.
That sort of brought it here.
What did you get to do?
Well, I got a private tour of the factory. So I went over where the cameras are not supposed to go.
That's really cool. So you had some unedited access. You could go wherever you wanted.
Well, yeah. Got me hands on the steering wheel.
Nice.
Got me hands on the last trophy that Pastor Maldonado won.
Oh, really? Wow. The Lord, Pastor Maldonado, you touched his trophy. Unbelievable. I can't say I've done that.
But anyway, who is your favorite driver?
Well, Michael Schumacher as well. If we're going back through history, it's 100% Michael. He was the one that, when I was put in front of a television at 3 years old, it was Michael Schumacher. I don't know, maybe it was the fact that he was winning all the time that kind of brought me in as a kid. But either way, I supported him through thick and thin. Obviously, when he came back to Formula One, it was really difficult because of the fact that he just wasn't on the pace that we all knew that he had back in the day. But yeah, Michael Schumacher, 100%. That's the only driver I'll ever publicly admit that I am a full fanboy of, not just passionate.
So, yeah, interesting. Do you think Lewis Hamilton is going to eclipse his records?
Yeah. My brain is telling me yes. My heart is telling me no. Just purely from a fact that whenever you support someone as much as I did Schumacher, it's difficult to look past that. And no one ever thought that record would be beaten. But that's not to say that Hamilton hasn't deserved it, because he has been utter class like the entirety of his career. Some people argue that he hasn't had a bad car, but then they forget that some years the McLaren was an absolute dog, and yet every single year he's competed, he's won a race. So yeah, Lewis is an unbelievable role model for the sport as well. And he has taken Formula One in the right direction. He's the one that's been the Michael Schumacher to kind of transcend into away from just the sport and bring more fans in, I think. So
he's grown on me, I must admit. I mean, when it first started, I was a bit unsure, only because of some fans, but I was a bit unsure whether they was really fans or whether they was only supporting him because, but he's really grown on me, and I think he's a great ambassador for the sport, actually. But how many championships do you reckon he's going to end up getting?
Oh, it's a difficult one. Obviously, we've got this very weird season coming up, which, it's going to be an interesting one this year, because as much as, people think that, like Red Bull might be the quickest for the first few races and whatnot. There's a lot of unknowns, but I think Hamilton will probably, if the Mercedes is as good as it looked in testing, will come out on top again. And then he'll obviously match Schumacher's record, and he's not going to leave the sport just by matching Schumacher's record. So I see him getting 8 or 9 championships, to be honest.
So you reckon he can go as much as that. Yeah, I mean, he deserves it as well. But coming on to the 2020 season, it's gonna be a weird one, isn't it? Are you gonna be at any races, or are you just gonna comment from home, sort of producing content from home?
Well, fingers crossed. That's, I'd love to go to a race this year, but it really depends on what's going on in the world. There's no reason to rush it and put anybody at risk in the team or whatever. So for us, yeah, it's up in the air, and I think it's up in the air for a lot of people. Obviously, we're going to be doing content no matter what. We can still do all of our content from home and meeting up, and obviously the restrictions are slowly easing now. But yeah, for us, obviously, we're going to be doing internet special reactions. We're going to be doing all sorts of stuff for the new season. I'm sure everyone's very excited for that. And yeah, who knows? I'd love to go to a race. I had races booked in this year, but obviously everything's changed. So I'd love to. I might even just drive past Silverstone when they're there just to hear it, so then I can then leave.
Because what is it like to sort of, from your point of view, like, because you obviously love Formula One, and now you're sort of working with them almost. What is it like for you? Are you still a bit starstruck, or is that sort of?
Yeah, I am still starstruck. I'll be honest with you. I think it's naturally with anything. If you do it more and more and more, it will feel a little bit more natural and a little bit more comfortable. So for me, obviously, being in the paddock is still an amazing thing, or just going to a race and being part of WTF1. So even if I ding my paddock pass, which I haven't been in the paddock that many times, but if I hear the noise, it goes doon doon doon, and it's just so exciting because you're then in the paddock and you never thought you would ever have been in there ever. But yeah, it's been amazing. There's been some incredible trips that we've done. Bahrain's one where we had pretty much all access to be in the paddock. We filmed in the paddock, which was incredible. And you see some drivers that will come up and say hello to you, and it's just the maddest thing ever. Because I look back at when I was a kid and all I saw was Formula One on the television, and I might go to the odd Silverstone race. So for me, I'm absolutely living the dream, and I hope it comes across in the content. I don't take any day for granted, and I absolutely love it.
Mate, I can totally relate to you, and even me doing you agreeing to do this with me, actually, it makes my day. So I'm really happy because I just love the support I'm getting of everybody, because as I said, I started this YouTube channel to sort of deal with my anxiety and my cerebral palsy, and my confidence grown so much. My doctors want to take me off. Are considering taking me off cerebral because I'm not depressed no more. I'm just over the moon, really. And my dream is sort of one day to have a feature on Sky or something,
Yeah.
So you've driven an F1 car. So what's left for you?
Well, before I get into that, obviously, it's again, I'm absolutely amazed by your journey and the fact that you've been able to help yourself so amazingly, and also you're conducting this interview as well as I would. So you're doing an unbelievable job with that sort of stuff. You've got some great questions. So yeah, hats off to you. But yeah.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, and the world is your oyster. If you want to have a feature on Sky, keep pushing. It takes absolutely nothing for me to spend a bit of time with you, and that's the least I can do. So hopefully Martin Brundle will one day reply to you. That'll be lovely.
I treat you Martin Brundle, but if you ever need a guest presenter, just let me know, and then we'll.
You're after my job. I have to be careful with you.
No, but I'm so over the moon. But you've driven a Formula One car, which is absolutely amazing. But how does that? What's left for you? Like, what do you want to achieve? Like, well, is there one thing that you still want to do?
I mean, obviously the Formula One car was something I never ever thought would happen in my entire lifetime. I still think back to that day and I remember it so clearly. So for me, obviously that was an unbelievable, it wasn't even on my bucket list because as I said in the video, I didn't even think it would be a thing that I could even potentially work towards. But for me, look, I just want to stay working within Formula One. I just want to remain this personality that people seem to enjoy watching and listening to, and I want to share my experience as much as I possibly can with people because at the end of the day, I'm living the dream, and I'd like to think that even if people can't get into the paddock, that they can almost live vicariously through me and the incredible opportunities that we've been able to have so far. So for me, it's literally just create some awesome content that people enjoy. I've had loads of messages of saying, thanks to WTF1, the content's got me through hard times, which for me, it and I think it goes back to when I used to work with young people and knowing their struggles. It's really heartwarming, and I've always wanted a job, no matter what, that I feel good about by the end of the day. So I'll finish my working day and think, I've made a difference. And that's what I think I can do in this job as well. So entertaining people is just what I want to do forever.
Yeah. So is it just Formula One you like, or do you like Formula E as well, or motorbike racing, or just Formula One?
For me, Formula One has always been my bread and butter. It's always been the one that I love. Formula One, I will never say that anything will come before Formula One for me. I do enjoy Formula E. We've been to a few races there, and I've been lucky enough to drive the Formula E car a couple of years ago. So it is a really cool series, and I think once it gets quicker, once it gets, because I think the circuits put me off a little bit just purely from how tight and twisty they are, and obviously they're in cities and airports and things. But Formula E, I'm a motorsport fan at the end of the day, so Formula E, Indy, they're all awesome events and motorsport series, and I do love watching them.
Yeah. So what do you think about the virtual Grand Prix?
Oh, the virtual Grand Prix, obviously I've been fortunate enough to be quite heavily involved in them with the commentating and being part of the shows. So for me, from the Formula One side of things, I've absolutely loved it, and it kept me sane, to be honest, through lockdown, being able to go and do those shows. So on that side, I really enjoyed it. I would have loved to have had it maybe a little bit more serious than it ended up being, from having no damage, and it was a bit silly, and some people couldn't take it seriously, because I would love for esports to be taken properly seriously, and I think having damage in a race was one way to go and do that. But yeah, for F1 side of things, I loved being part of that. Obviously, it's been amazing to see all the other events that are happening as well. Like there was Le Mans 24 Hours not too long ago, and it's just it has filled a hole for me, and it's been great to watch it all.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, with Formula E, I've watched two, maybe three races, and I like it, but I just can't get into it just yet.
No, it takes time, doesn't it? It takes time. Not some people. It's the fact that there's no danger element, there's no risk factor, because obviously they're in simulators, and I do get that. But yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. But yeah, it's been great to see a lot of it for sure. Yeah. And when we couldn't go racing, it's awesome to have at least had something.
So because we're going back to this, to like extra racing. So I was thinking, why don't they, instead of making it a drivers' championship, why don't they make it a teams' championship only for this season, because of the risk of anybody potentially having to be replaced? What do you think about that?
It's an idea that, it's certainly something I hadn't really thought about. And it's definitely a good idea. I guess that's more of a precaution as to whether someone does get ill, gets taken away, all that stuff that nobody can predict. So I guess Formula One are trying to keep it as normal as possible, and I'm sure there are lots of reasons as to why they're hosting both the drivers and the teams championships behind the scenes, because they might, obviously you don't want to think that they're thinking like this. But obviously, Formula One is run by money, and perhaps if there isn't a drivers' championship, not as many people will tune in, and therefore that's why they've decided to do that. I don't know, but that's just me theorizing at the moment. But yeah,
it's an idea, isn't it?
It's an idea for sure. I just hope nobody gets ill and we can just have a championship as normal. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
How many races do you think we're gonna have?
Now that is a proper guess. I think that's more of a guess than guessing how many championships Hamilton's going to have. I don't know. I think because obviously there's going to be lots of back-to-backs. I'd like to. I think they're aiming at around 15 to 18. I think it was. So I'd hope at least 15, so then they can class it as a world championship. I don't know, but yeah, I think they'll get maybe 15 in.
Well, yeah, but you know, how are you going to cope with all this back to back? Because you know, in terms of you having to produce content, and how is that going to work for you? Well,
we'll survive. I think the F1 teams will struggle a lot more with how much they have to travel and how hard they're going to work. So I do feel for them with what they've got to go through in these coming months. But yeah, for us, it's not. Obviously, it's going to be busy. We're going to be doing lots of internet's best reactions. We're going to be doing a lot of F101 explanation videos as to why this, that, or the other happened in a race. But yeah, it won't be too difficult for us. So don't spare any thought for us. Spare thought for the teams.
Yeah, I mean, when I went to Williams, I actually got to speak to some of the engineers, and they've got so much passion in it, and like I really do fear for them, sort of thing. But what do you think is going to be the 5 craziest things that you think might happen during the season?
Oh gosh, wow! Yeah, you're loving my predictions, aren't you today? What do I think will be crazy things to happen? Well, I think Verstappen will be leading the championship after the first 3 races. But that's not. I mean, that's just purely going off the fact it's Hungary, and then you've got Austria, and then you've got Hungary. So that's 3 races around tracks that you'd hope Red Bull would be pretty quick around. So I think Verstappen will be leading the championship. I don't know if I can go with 5 predictions, but I think Charles Leclerc will probably be I think Ferrari will treat Charles Leclerc as number 1 this year, because why shouldn't they not? Because it's Vettel's last year.
Yeah.
I think Hamilton will win the championship. I'm throwing that in as a prediction. I think don't know. We'll go with 3. There you go. There's 3 predictions.
Anyway, I'm gonna throw this to you. I'm gonna say that Daniel Ricciardo is gonna get fired. Is gonna get fired by Renault.
Fired. Okay. What for?
Because they're going to have a fallout, I think.
Okay. Wow, that would be extreme. Yeah.
Because I don't think Cyril Abiteboul is too happy about the way that the McLaren deal was done.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna say that Carlos Sainz is not gonna play water boy to Charles Leclerc when he comes in 2021.
Yeah.
And yeah, so obviously Vettel, do you think he's going to retire, or do you reckon he's going to go anywhere else?
I think he'll probably retire. I think the highest likelihood is he'll retire. I don't know if he has the spark that he once did. I don't know if he has the passion, and obviously things change, people change, lives change, and if Vettel feels like he's achieved enough, which he absolutely has, there's no doubt about that, 4 world championships, you can't really take that away from him. So I think it'd be a shame for him to bow out without a great season, but maybe 2020 will be that one. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I don't know. I think the highest likelihood is that he'll retire.
Do you think he's failed at Ferrari?
No, I don't think he's failed at all. I think he's been getting a lot of flack for obviously not getting a world championship, and fair enough, he has made mistakes, and I won't say that he hasn't, but he's still like the 3rd highest winning driver in Ferrari, and to say that he's not achieved is very, I think, is very harsh. Obviously, having a world championship would have been ideal, and that's exactly what he was pushing for. But the car wasn't as good as Mercedes for a lot of the time, so he would have had to outperform it, which maybe that's where the mistakes came in, and he wasn't able to do that. So I wouldn't say he's a failure, but I don't think he's achieved either.
Yeah, I think the fact that he was taking out, he was always going to be compared to Michael Schumacher, and I think that was one of his biggest problems, because when he joined Ferrari, I can tell you for certain that the German media went absolutely crazy about comparing him to Michael Schumacher, and they was almost expecting him to emulate what Michael Schumacher has done, and I think that sort of didn't manage to cope with that so well. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, being compared to the greatest of all time is, you're never gonna be able to emulate what Schumacher did. He was an unbelievably special human being. You know, his drives were things that will be, you know, talked about for hundreds of years, you know. So, you know, it's very harsh for the German media to have latched onto that, but I can understand why they did, because it's a story at the end of the day, isn't it? So, it's harsh to compare to Schumacher because their journeys have been very different, but Vettel has won 4 world championships. So if the German media are coming out and saying Vettel is a failure, that's one of the harshest things I think I've ever heard.
No, like it's. I mean, they're obviously saying, they're not saying exactly that he's a failure. I don't think, but they obviously they haven't. They're not actually. They think that he could have achieved a lot more than what he did.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, because obviously Vettel won all of his titles in very quick succession. You know, everyone then probably is saying, look, Schumacher's record's in sight. Vettel's won 4 world championships. It's easily doable, but, you know, that's not how Formula One works. And, you know, you move teams, or the car doesn't become competitive. Schumacher was, I don't know if lucky's the right word, but Schumacher was in the right place at the right time for many years. But maybe that was because he built Ferrari from the ground up, which is easily arguable, because when he went to Ferrari, they weren't quick. So, I think it's harsh for Vettel to be seen as a failure, but I think at the same time, I can see why people have been maybe disappointed with the fact he hasn't had more than 4 titles after Red Bull.
So, what can you remember your first ever race that you saw, like on TV and live?
No, I can't. A lot of people can, but I can't because I was about 2 years old. So if I remembered that, then I'd have incredible memory. But I don't remember very many of the early races. I remember sitting there watching them, obviously, but yeah, it was more just watching Michael Schumacher dominate and being like, yeah, this is awesome. So for me in the early years, I don't really have a first memory of that. But I remember the first time I went to a Grand Prix, which was Silverstone 2007, I think, when Hamilton got pole. It was only for qualifying that I went, and then 2008, I think, was when he won in the wet, if I'm right. I think it is. So my first ever Grand Prix experience was Silverstone 2007, if I'm not mistaken. So that was 15 years old, and I'll never forget that. I remember leaving the track and my ears were ringing, and you know, it was unbelievable to hear those cars and to see Schumi as well. Later on, when he came back with Mercedes, because obviously he'd just retired when I saw my first F1 race. So to see Schumi go around, whenever it was, I think I can't remember now, but one of the years in Mercedes when I was there for Silverstone was amazing. To see Schumacher on the track, I lost it. I absolutely lost it. I was so happy. So that was another big memory for me.
So you know, how long have you been doing WTF1 now?
I've been doing it for, let's have a look. So it's June the 25th now. I joined in February 2017. So nearly 3.5 years.
And when you first got the first sort of, like the first email or whatever you did, Did you think it was fake?
No, I didn't think it was fake, because it came from Tommy on Twitter. But the funny story behind that is that so obviously, I was going about my day, nothing really, I wasn't expecting anything from WTF1. I was making my own stupid videos, and then Tommy messaged me on Twitter just saying, "Oh, hey mate, oh actually, let me find it. Give me 2 seconds." But basically, he messaged me just completely out of the blue. We don't actually DM much on Twitter, so let me try and find him. Where are we? Why is Tommy not coming? I'll see. So I had to search older messages because I haven't DM'd him for so long. Let me read it out to you. Here we go. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I actually met Tommy at the end of December.
Yeah.
And then I think that was when they initially mentioned to me, "Oh, look, there's something coming up, but we're not really sure what it looks like yet, but it might be that we're starting a YouTube channel." And then Tommy messaged me on the 4th of January 2017 saying, "Hey mate, how's it going? Loving the streams you've been doing recently. Thought it'd be easier to chat here than email. Need to sort out a few things if possible. No major rush." So obviously I've been waiting for them to come back to me for quite some time just to see whether there's anything. I replied in less than a minute. So at 14:39 he messaged me. I replied at 14:40. So there was no chill. There was absolutely no kind of holding back. I just went, "Hey mate, yeah, no, what did I say?" I said hold on. Oh, I've got rid of it again. I said, "Hello, mate. Fire away. I'm all good, thanks, pal. Yourself?" I was straight in. There was no holding back. I probably did it within 30 seconds, just in case, for any reason, they went, "Oh, Matt's not replied. Let's go talk to someone else." So yeah. So after that, obviously, it all kind of snowballed, and they told me about that they wanted to start a YouTube channel. They needed a presenter. I went through loads. Loads of phases of interviews. So I had obviously 2 meetings prior. Well, I had one meeting, then they messaged me, then I had another meeting, then I had an interview, I think. Then I had a test shoot, which was at Autosport International on that year, 2017, where I had to do a few bits of piece to camera. And bearing in mind, I've never presented in my life really, apart from in front of a camera shouting stupid rubbish. I'd never actually properly presented in front of people. So I was so nervous. So I did a few pieces there. One around the Lotus 49, which I had no idea about, but they were like, "Yeah, could you just do this interview with one of the guys there?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, all right, cool." Didn't have a clue what I was talking about. Either way, apparently they saw some potential, which is great, because when I look back at that video, the first ever video we put on our channel, it is dreadful. I didn't know where to put my hands. I just didn't know. I just kind of left them flopped in front of me. But yeah, so it was a whirlwind of a journey. And then I think I did a voiceover test as well, where I had to prepare a script for a video and then record the voiceover. But then after that, they eventually offered me the job, and it's been 3.5 years. So it's been a mental ride.
It's absolutely crazy, and because I remember the reason why I asked you that is because when I put out this tweet to Martin Brundle, I suddenly see that a screenshot of somebody screenshotted the fact that you replied this one, and I thought it can't be real, because I know this guy from WTF1, and then when I sort of messaged you, and you said yes, and I sort of wasn't sure whether it was you, yeah. So that's why I said, "Are you sure you want to be on my channel?" But my growth has just been amazing. I've hit, like, I was 500 last month, 4 weeks ago, and now I'm at 600. So it's been absolutely incredible, and the support I've been getting from my videos. I mean, I just love doing content as well.
Exactly, and it comes across. You can see how much you love it, and that's amazing to see from fellow F1 fans. And as I have reiterated before, I'm more than happy to spend a bit of time, just purely from a fact of I can't spend time with everybody because I only have a certain amount of hours in the day, and I've got my own work to do. But I always think, and especially when I'm doing meetups at races or whatever, and if people want to meet me for whatever reason, I don't know why people still want to meet me, but I will spend 10-15 minutes chatting to every single person, because at the end of the day, the people that watch, the people that for some reason enjoy this mug on their screens, is the reason I'm in a job. So I owe my job to the people that
Yeah.
are our fans, and I'm sure you get that as well. And the fact that you're up to 600 subscribers, the first 1,000 is always the hardest. 100% is the hardest, and after that, you get a bit more momentum, a bit more traction. So you're nearly there. You're nearly at the 1K, which I'm sure will be a very monumental moment for you.
Yeah.
And then after that, you just keep having fun, keep enjoying what you're doing, and then see where you get.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the whole journey has been absolutely crazy, and I'm sort of spending more time doing videos for YouTube than I actually do translating English to German to English. So this is sort of took over kind of nearly my life. But do you still get the same buzz out of doing the videos and attending all these crazy things?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that, if I didn't, it would be quite evident in the content. I love being able to share, as I said before, like my journey, and to be able to make content with you guys, with people, and to share with you guys. There's been so many incredible experiences that I've been lucky enough to have, and the fact that I've got a video library, if I ever want to experience it again, I can just watch my own video back, and that's so special to me, and it always will be. So for me, the F1, my passion for F1 will never die. My passion for entertaining people will never die. So for me, it never gets normal. It never gets normal to go to an F1 race or go to a cool media event. Everything means the world to me, and I'm quite vocal on my social media about how much it means to me, that I hope it actually comes across that it's sincere, rather than me constantly going, thanks guys, but it genuinely means the world to me. So yeah,
I absolutely loved it. And like, well, when you said, when we agreed to do this chat, I mean, that really, that made my day. That's up there with going to Williams. Just to put it into perspective.
Don't be silly. It's only me.
No, but it's like having somebody that I can chat Formula One with. Like, I really enjoy it. So the final question is, do you so where do you see yourself, like, in 5 years' time?
It could be many places. Obviously I absolutely love my job at WTF1. So for me, my full focus is making WTF1 the biggest success that it possibly can be. But yeah, who knows? Who knows what 5 years brings? Who knows what 2 years brings? Who knows what 10 years? I genuinely don't know. But for me, all I know is that as long as there's an opportunity for me to entertain people within the world of motorsport and Formula One especially, I will be there. But for me, WTF1 is my full focus, and I think WTF1 is the future. And who knows? Who knows what brings? Because I love esports. I love getting involved in that side of the thing, of the world as well. But yeah, I think the main focus for me is not what job I'm in, but it's the fact that I'm improving what I do and improving and honing my craft, because I need to still improve. As much as I've done a lot of things already in the last 3.5 years, I'm still not the finished product, and I still want to continuously get better at presenting and get better at all sorts of stuff, script writing, everything. So so for me, I just want to stay within Formula One, please. That'd be nice.
So do you actually the current situation with all the teams? Do you actually get a bit worried for Formula One in terms of its sustainability, or are you quite chilled about that?
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of how their revenues are doing, which is probably a good thing, because I'm not very good with numbers. But I don't really think about that too much, because in my head, and maybe it's a naive thing, I'm always like, Formula One will always exist. It will always be there no matter what. And I'm sure they'll do everything in order to make that happen, whether at one point, they'll have to go fully electric because, the world is going that way. We don't know. But no, I don't think about Formula One ever not existing because I don't know what I'd do with my life otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite, as long as Williams stays in the sport,
Yeah.
That's my number one. That's
Yeah, I
my.
can imagine, especially after your amazing trip. You definitely want them to stay around.
So yeah, are you how's lockdown been for you? Has it been all right, or how's it been for you?
Lockdown. Lockdown has been interesting. I don't think it's affected me as much as some people, just purely from the fact that I'm a gamer. So I can spend a lot of time just sinking hours into playing games. So I don't think it's affected me as much as some people, but it's still. I noticed it definitely affects your mental health, especially when you're at home for so long. So for me, when I was able to go and do the F1 esports stuff, I noticed how amazing I felt afterwards because it was just great to see some people, to interact and do something to take away from the fact that we're all stuck in lockdown. So for me, it's not been too bad, but not the best, obviously. What about you? How was lockdown for you?
Well, lockdown for me has been it's been absolutely great in terms of me content.
Yeah.
I've done things that I never thought I would do. The creme de la creme is sort of we are sort of in the creme de la creme at the minute. Sort of talking to you, but I've had so much fun and so much create. I've had so much possibilities. So many people have reached out to me, and so many, I've had so much positives. But obviously, because I can't go to the gym at the minute. I can't go and have back massages, which is really killing my back at the minute. So I can't wait for that to be able to do that again. I mean, I've started training outside with my personal trainer, but my back is still killing me, so I can't wait when the lockdown is fully fully lifted because for health reasons. But other than that, it's been all right.
Yeah, seems like positives and negatives, and you need your back massage. That sounds like.
Yeah, because
So yeah.
sitting in a wheelchair like for a long time isn't the greatest thing, eh?
Yeah, yeah, I can
So
imagine.
yeah, so cheers, Matty, for doing that for me. It's been a blast. And do you just want to tell all your followers and subscribers what to do?
Yeah, well, thank you for watching or listening wherever you're currently tuning in. It's been amazing. Thanks, Raz, for having me. And obviously, I'll share the video once it goes live. But yeah, no, it's been awesome to have a chat. And here's to the future, and here's to you getting 1K.
Yeah, and then maybe if lockdown is finished, and you down the Midlands, maybe one day we can meet up in person, eh?
Definitely, I'm sure we'll get to a race or whatever, and we'll be in the same vicinity, and I'll be gladly happy to meet up. So yeah, that'll be good.
Thanks, Matt.
No problem.
It's been awesome. See you later.
Cheers.
Bye.